guys, welcome to Emperor Built EK9 Restoration 2021 series. I am very excited to share with you this journey, but before we proceed, here's her condition when I got her. First of all, you may be wondering why it's left-hand drive. Well, all first-generation Civic Type Rs are only released in Japan. Therefore, all of them are right-hand drives. But country law states that all vehicles must be left-hand drive to be legally driven in the Philippine streets. Thus, it needs to be converted. And since we have locally released EK sedans, it shouldn't be a problem. Also, this unit is uncut and is legally registered. This baby is a bang for the buck. We all know the heart-crushing prices of EK9 these days, and finding one is just a chance of a lifetime, especially if you have a limited budget. So when I finally found her, no sleep and full of excitement, I went on ready to drive 900 kilometers back and forth just to get her. Luckily, the seller offered to meet me halfway. And just like that, I am driving home a 1997 Civic Type R. But it's not that easy. With the previous owner's modifications, and obnoxiously noisy exhaust and a hard stage 2 clutch, it was not easy weaving through big city traffic while carefully not attracting traffic officers. During the drive home, it was not easy to miss its severe suspension problem. Annoying interior noises and a very crappy engine and transmission mount. Apart from the winding belts, surprisingly, the steering is just so accurate, even though I am so sure it was not an OEM EK steering rack. And after 6 hours of driving, I finally arrived home. I slept like a baby that night, and when I woke up in the morning, I realized that after 15 long years, I finally have a real EK9 Type R. I went straight to work on it the next night. I couldn't help myself. First order of business, remove the huge Pimp My Ride era speakers at the back. I'm all about music, but this is way too much music, man. Kinda disrespects the very purpose of this performance machine. Honda developed this car from a basic economy Civic to a track monster at her own category. Balance, lightweight, and agility is what this car is all about. So stuff like these needs to be thrown out. And besides, who needs music when you have 185 Japanese ponies screaming to 8.2 thousand RPMs when VTEC kicks in, y'all? But never mind the torque, it's a different story. But hey, a Type R is a Type R. And it's honestly a slow car, so please don't try to race me when you see me on the road. The Type R boasts a very special interior, and so are its prices. So removing them is the best plan of action before we proceed with the restoration. The red carpet, mats, seats, red panels, we all have to save them because that's partly what the Type R is all about. And with also suspensions and brakes, but we'll talk about that later. You may have also noticed the white doors and hood. I had to replace them because aside from its inaccurate look, it's also full of, body feelers, which I really hate so much. The following morning, I started her up just to see how she performs on a cold start. An old mechanic friend of mine used to say, you can see how the previous owner treats the engine by its cold start. The RPMs usually goes below 2000 RPM and gradually goes down somewhere between around 900. And surprisingly, the engine sounds great. There are some noisy belts and bearings here and there, but ordering some genuine Honda parts should cover all of them. So since it's running great, enough for the engine for now. So I am going to shift my focus on the chassis and its suspension. Upon careful review, I noticed that most of the under chassis noises are on the rear, so most likely it's the trailing arm bushings, the knockoff LCAs, and lower tie bar. I mean, I have no problem with knockoff parts, but when it comes to suspensions, I love to get my hands on those genuine ones, especially on this Type R. One of the parts in my wish list is the Hone Development Roll Center Correction Kit on both front and rear. Big change in the handling. The car also came sitting on some genuine Teen Driving Master HAs. Though I'm sure it's busted, I'm confident that it can be fixed since old versions of Japan-made coilovers are very repairable. One feature that I love about this car is its ABS system. Track racers usually remove it, but since we drive it in the streets and in any kind of weather, I think it's best to keep it for safety reasons. I think the throttle cable needs to be replaced by a left-hand drive one, and the wirings need to be tidied up and maybe cleaned to a point that we should replace all those rubber or plastic wraps to make it look more tidy. Oh, and I have to change this bumper bracket too. Anyway, back to J-Dong. I'm gonna feature him probably next episode, and also feature the guys that I've been buying the parts from. I know, I'm sorry, I'm too excited. I got my hands on this full EK9 OEM exhaust system just a few days after I got the EK9 home. The car would sound really nice once it's installed and all the engine noises been fixed. And sitting on the driver's side, I can really say that I have been so lucky when I got this EK9. Well, apart from it having its original speedometer and its Type R emblem on the dash, it's already left-hand drive. I mean, the dashboard, it's already the left-hand drive version. I just don't know if it also has the left-hand drive dashboard frame, but I can change that. I have a spare. The JDM beeps are so there, which you don't really get on a Philippine local Civic. And all the lights are working well. It starts well. Boy, look at that idle air control valve doing its job. And so its thermostat. The ABS is lighting up, so I need to fix that, and all other lights are doing good. Odometer reads around 50,000 kilometers, but I'm really curious about that. The emblem on the dash, it's Civic Type R and it's carbon fiber skin. Those things are very expensive these days. Almost everything here works really great, even the vents. But the only thing I noticed is the alignment of the dashboard. Most probably it's the conversion. But I can have that fixed when I install the legit left-hand drive dashboard frame. The sun visor is so JDM, but it's got faded prints. The ceiling though is close to immaculate condition. The handle covers are there. The fitment is really tight, so I'm guessing that the previous owner didn't really remove that when he had the interior repainted. One thing I also noticed about these panels is that the EK9 has the darker panels, while the EK3s has the lighter one. There are a few ways on importing JDM cars to the Philippines. Most of it are roof cut, and worst, the mid cut. There are 3 areas which we should inspect to know for sure if it's really brought in as a whole or cut. In this case, area 1 is on its original paint, no welded portions, smooth as butter. I think we probably hit jackpot. Now, just to make sure, we should also check area 2 and 3. The area 2 is the rear pillar, so if it's a roof cut, there should also be a welded portion. And yeah, on this case, this unit is already painted, but with very close inspection, you can really see or notice if it's, welded and covered up, or untouched, but on this case, number 2 is smooth as butter. So I think there's no point checking the middle pillar because you can't roof cut a car with just the 2 pillars. Now on the last portion, we have to check its lower chassis. If there is a cut there, then you know for sure that you just bought a lemon. But on this case, it's still smooth as butter. So it's really safe to say that this car, I just, hit the jackpot. It's brought in as a whole. And that means we can really enjoy the car to its maximum potential. Now to some, the EK9 only differs on its engine, but the real magic of the EK9 is its chassis. And because of that, the EK9 is a whole lot of different beast compared to regular EK hatches. Its exhaust system is also exciting apart from it being stock. It has a different specifications than normal Civics. It has a bigger diameter, a less restrictive resonators, catalytic converters, and muffler. I also love the look of the heat shield, though it needs to be restored. It covers the 421 headers designed specifically for the B16B for maximum acceleration and better power band. Just a little TLC on this full system and she's good to go. I also love the look of this red strut bar. That's OEM. Wiper cowl is painted and it needs to be replaced. This guy has to go because I brought the stock airbox. Never mind the fake headlight replacements. It's made from Taiwan. I don't really care because the originals are very expensive. So moving to the interior, I will have to paint it back to its original color. It's supposed to be championship white since there are no 1997 EK9s that are painted yellow. There are only black, silver, and championship white. This portion has less body filler, but I will have to have it scraped down to its original paint. And the privacy glass is so beautiful. This is only available on EK9s. And now that everything is all set, this is how she originally looks. And there she is, ladies and gentlemen, the 1997 Honda Civic EK9 Type R pre-facelift version. It just looks so wonderful. It just got me so excited to finish this project, but patience, patience, patience. Now there are still a lot of things to do, so before we have the car moved to RevTech Garage for further assessment and engine removal, I have to empty out all of its interior and replace the seats with some, temporary ones. I want this car to be done right. And so the best thing to do that is just to remove the engine, remove the steering rack, the subframe and its dashboard and all the components inside it, and just see which part that needs to be replaced. I can actually make a list which parts that needs to be replaced, and that's another content for another episode. Also, I went ahead on removing the seats. It's not really that mint condition, but I can live with it. Maybe all through the restoration I can find a mint one, but it's not a priority at the moment. And sorry for checking it again. Still, the insides of it are uncut. Now it's time to remove all the remaining parts, such as the carpet, the center consoles, and everything that we see that is not necessary to be there when it comes to the actual paint job. And based on experience, when restoring a car and entrusting it to other people, just make sure remove the parts that needs to be removed, because, well, to keep the story short, you can blame nobody but yourself if you lose some of those parts. And it's also very expensive for them to replace once it gets, damaged, dirty, or worse, suddenly gone. Now that the carpet is off, I inspected it. It's so weird. It's got some oil in it, some dead rats, and, well, sadly, some rust spots. But it's a 20-something-year-old car, so rust spots are expected. Anything can be fixable if we just find the right person for it. Now, the EK9 is actually, when you come to think of it, is almost 25 years old. A few years from now, this baby will be United States legal. So expect that it will be more expensive, even though it has dead rats. Interior is alright, and like I said, smooth as butter, no cut. And I'm sorry for stretching that out, just because in this country there are a lot of cut EK9. I am so sure that this one is just surface rust, so a little rust converter would take care of this portion. But this portion really needs to be cut and welded. Now I think the interior is fine, everything is fixable, and I'm pretty sure that the other side also has rust spots, but it's alright. Everything can be fixed. Yup, I am right. There she is. Either way, I think it's a good trade-off for its age. So if you sum it all up, I think the interior is fine, needs a little work, but doable. So, after careful inspection, we now know what to do first. We remove the engine, paint the chassis, and vice versa. And oh, this car already has a left-hand drive AC boxes. It's just not bolted on properly since the bolt patterns of right-hand drives are different. The computer box is on the wrong side, it should be here, and this module, probably the ABS, should be going there. So apart from the wiring conversion, everything is a-okay. So after coming up with the master plan and what to expect for the coming episodes, tomorrow she will be going to the Shady Garage to have her existing paint scraped down to its original paint, then engine removal, and most likely firewall swap. Then it goes straight to the paint booth. First we paint the under chassis, then goes the engine bay, interior, and lastly the exterior. After that, or during that, we will refresh the engine by doing its proper maintenance using genuine Honda parts, install back everything under the dashboard and including the dashboard itself, address the steering, brakes and suspension systems, install it all back, and then detail it. Now I know that it will be very challenging, but I am pretty sure that I will enjoy this journey. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you hit like, subscribe, and share.